Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video we're going to be talking about Death Stranding on the PC. Now I know there are a lot of PlayStation fans out there who are quite unhappy with this announcement that one of their beloved games, Death Stranding, was getting released on the PC. Now I for one was really excited because hey, like I've always told in my videos, the more the merrier. So bring it on, PlayStation. I mean, release more titles on the PC. And if you really look at the state of PlayStation exclusives today, most of them are already available on the PC. You talk about Spider-Man, you talk about Detroit Being Human, and now even Death Stranding. Heck, even God of War is available on the PC. So they are PlayStation exclusives in terms of the consoles, but in terms of gaming options, well, it is good that these games are also available on the PC. That's my personal opinion. Now, with that said, the reason why I wanted to record this in this way and I'm not taking a screen recording is because I've already played this game for some time on the PC. And what I've noticed is that when I do a screen recording, which I usually do, so most of my videos that you've seen of these gameplays, I have generally screen recorded directly from my laptop, and I've never faced any issues. But in this particular game, I did face serious issues when it comes to the frame rates. Now, there were massive fluctuations when I was screen recording, and therefore the only other option that I had was to put a camera in front of my television and record it in this way. So that's the reason as to why you see this video in this format. The other thing that I want to mention is my configuration. I know that if you have seen my videos, then you already know what kind of a laptop I'm playing this game on. But if you're here for the first time, then let me tell you that the laptop that I'm playing this on is the Asus ROG Strix G15 Advantage Edition from 2021 with the Ryzen 9 5800HX and the RX6800 GDDR6 graphic card, which is a 12 GB graphic card, by the way. I have not upgraded my RAM, so it's the stock 16 GB of RAM. But I did upgrade my internal storage with a Samsung SSD 980. So this game is actually stored on that Samsung SSD, the NVMe SSD internal storage, Samsung SSD 980. Now, the graphical options that I've kept this game on is I'm playing this game on native 4K, by the way. If you can see here, it's native 4K. And the other options that I've kept, maximum frame rate, I haven't increased this to 120 or more than that because my limit on my television is just 60 FPS, 4K 60. My TV is a 4K 60 or 1080p at 120 Hz television, all right? In terms of graphics quality, well, the model detail, I've kept it on default. The memory for streaming, I've kept it high because this is a 12 GB graphic card at the end of the day. The shadow resolution, I generally keep it on low on most of my games because I'm not a big fan of, keeping a check on how the shadows are looking. Ambient occlusion, however, is comparatively more important to me because personally, in my opinion, this definitely improves the quality of the game. The screen space reflections as well, I generally keep it on. Now, the Fidelity FX contrast has been turned off in this case. Now, there are options you can actually tune up the contrast, but I've just kept it off because I don't think it adds a lot to the game. This is based on my personal experience. Now, anti-aliasing, I did try FXAA and I tried to turn it off as well. But for this game, I think the temporal anti-aliasing works the best. All right. It does not over sharpen things. It does not have that shimmery effect around the edges of flora and fauna or the foliage. I think TAA, it creates that right balance. Depth of field has been turned on, and so has the motion blur been turned on as well. So these are my settings, and again, this is in full 4K that I'm playing this game on. So I'm just going to click on that continue button because of course I've played this game for quite some time. Now the first thing that I've noticed is that this game, if you've got any background applications running, it's going to kill you, all right? So a word of advice, do not run anything in the background, all right? Make sure that you're switching all the applications off in the background because even if you have something like Steam open in the background, the load times significantly increase, all right? I don't know why that's the case. Now, I particularly want to highlight one important aspect, and that is that while I was playing this game on 4K, I was getting really good frame rates, even with all those settings that you just saw on screen. Now, please note there is a counter here. I don't know how much of that would the camera be able to pick up, but here's that counter. All right, here it is, right in this corner. I'm going to come to this side and I'm going to show you so that you can see it right here. All right, so that's the FPS counter. Now, the FPS counter for the most of it is showing me 60 FPS or the high 50s. All right. Now, an interesting fact to note here is that this is 4K. So I'm getting these frame rates in native 4K on my RX6800. This is an all AMD machine. I'm sure that with an Intel machine clubbed with an RTX 3080 Ti maybe, it's gonna fare far better. But hey, it is what it is when it comes to me. So this is all I got. And with this, it's giving me quite a decent performance. Now this game looks gorgeous, by the way. I mean, the scenic landscapes, they look absolutely fantastic. All right, so here we go. Oopsie, oopsie. So you really got to maintain that balance when it comes to, you know, maneuvering around with this body on your back. But let me tell you some of the other thoughts that I have about this game. All right, now let me just get out of this area and maybe I can show you. Okay, and these are interesting facts, by the way. I was quite surprised, you know, when I actually got to see that. So here, as you can see, I am playing this game on native 4K. Now, what I want you to know is that when you change the resolution, all right, this was absolutely surprising for me. So I'm going to change this resolution over to 1080p. Okay. Now, theoretically, if I change this to 1080, it should perform better, isn't it? Well, at least, you know, that's what the system would think. But what I noticed is that it doesn't necessarily perform all that great. All right. If you notice, the GPU percentage has drastically reduced now on screen. So right now it's performing all right. But what I've noticed is sometimes, especially when you have background applications running, when you play this game on 1080p, it is in fact almost as smooth as 4K, but I think the 4K performance was in fact better. Now this depends on what kind of applications you have running in the background, because it can take a toll on your machine. But right now, hey, it's performing well. The GPU percentage has certainly dropped. As you can see, it's 38% of the GPU being used right now, and the video RAM, only 35% of it is being used. Now personally, upfront, I hardly see a difference on screen. I mean, I'm playing this on my Samsung AU9070, which is a 4K television, and on this TV, it does not make much of a difference. It still looks sharp, surprisingly sharp. All right, don't fall. I fell. Okay, let's climb here. Okay, so it's a stable 60 FPS in a 1080p. So let's crank it up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this up to 1440p. All right. So let's go over to graphics settings again, and I'm going to dial this up to 1440p, and I'm going to hit on that confirm. Here we go. All right, it definitely looks a bit sharper coming from full HD. So yeah, I will admit that once you actually make those changes and sit right in front of the TV, you will be able to see a difference. What I've noticed with most of the games on PC is that when you go from full HD to 1440p, there is a big difference. But when you go from 1440p to 4K, there's not much of a difference in most of the games. All right. Now, some of the games, based on the you could say the optimization done by the developers, it varies, but it's just my general observation, you could say. All right. So here, oh, no, don't fall. Oh, as you can see, I'm really bad at this game. Now, by the way, I've already played this game on my PlayStation 5. I haven't completed the game, so, but I've progressed farther, you could say, on my PlayStation. And what I've noticed on the PlayStation is that it looks extremely good. Really good. I mean, the performance on the PlayStation 5 is extremely close to this PC variant. Now, generally, when I play games on my PC, The obvious difference is the quality of the textures. The textures are really sharp on the PC, be it whichever game it is that I'm playing. But on this particular game, I must tell you that there isn't much of a difference. Now, generally consoles, what they tend to do to optimize the frame rates, to optimize the performance, consoles generally tend to make their image quality a bit softer. All right, so PC is always going to have the advantage. PC is always going to have more graphical options, and it's also going to have these sharper textures. But in this particular game, I must tell you that although I've played this on 4K on my PC, and speaking of 4K, let's switch back to 4K. All right, so far full HD, so far in 1440p with the RX6800 with the Ryzen 9. I'm getting a solid 60 FPS. As you can see, most of the settings are on high, motion blur is turned on, depth of field has been turned on as well. And just so that you know that these have been turned on, I'm going to show it to you again. All right, so memory for streaming is high, shadow resolution is kept on low, but the ambient occlusion has been turned on. All right, let's do something. All right, let's increase the model detail. Let's keep it on very high. Let's see what happens to the frame rate. So now I have kept the model details to high, and what I've also done is I've kept it on 4K. So as you can see, when I'm panning around, it's still giving me 60 FPS, a solid 60 FPS. This is fantastic. Now, no frame drops whatsoever. I mean, one or two is completely understandable, you know, but so far it's given me a solid performance. Now, this is pretty good. Now, how does this perform to my PlayStation 5? I would say the PlayStation 5 comes really close. So if you've got background applications running, and I keep talking about background applications like a broken record, is because when I did have those background applications running while I was playing this game, the load times went significantly high. I mean, on some screens, I was getting load times of like 2.5 minutes, I kid you not. So you may want to specifically turn those applications off, all right? So please keep that in mind while you're playing this game. I did not face that problem when I was playing other games, not so much. I mean, you have checked out so many games on my channel. I've played other games as well. Off late, I've been playing a lot of Chinese action RPGs, and it never seemed to be a problem. But with this game, it definitely is a problem. And that's why I'm saying this over and over again like a broken record. Now, so far, even with the model details turned high, the frame rates have been stable. They've been very stable. All right, so it's quite good. The performance is quite good. Now, this game looks gorgeous, by the way. Whether you're playing this on the PlayStation 5 or you're playing this on the PC, it looks absolutely stunning. Now, if you club it up with a good monitor with a high refresh rate, I'm sure you're going to get more out of it. But even with the 4K 60 FPS, I think it looks very, very good. And most of the games, even if you're playing this on the console, you're not going to get native 4K 120 Hertz. With these consoles, the most that you'll get would be maybe 1440p at 120 Hertz. Yeah. So the next gen consoles, they don't really give you a native 4K 120 Hertz experience. However, the PC is a different story altogether. Now, with a PC, you can actually get a native 4K 120 Hertz refresh rate as well, but it obviously depends on your configuration. Now, with my configuration, which is the RX6800 and the Ryzen 9, I cannot get 4K 120 Hertz, especially on games like this. And another thing is that my TV is just not capable of doing that. All right, so I'm playing this on the TV. I'm not playing this on the native laptop screen, as you can tell. This game looks good. Let's just quickly head over to a cutscene and see how, you know, the model details actually impact the cutscenes and if there are frame drops in the cutscenes. So let's cremate. All right, yep. Let's cremate this person. Give him peace, rest in peace. Wrapped around body. Okay. Okay, so this is a cutscene now, and it's still at 60 FPS, so that's pretty good. That's a good sign. The screen may look pretty dark. Obviously, it's not that dark, all right? Now, the actual picture quality, please note that I'm recording this on my camera, so this is not the actual representation of how this game looks. This game, it looks pretty good. it's not that dark as, as to how it looks on the camera. On my TV, I can figure out every aspect. Now on the camera, this definitely looks a little darker, obviously because I've also kept my ISO pretty low. Because what happens is if I turn the ISO up high, then what can happen is that some of the scenes, they look blown out. All right, so that's kind of a bummer when it comes to recording on your camera and taking the footage from your camera. This is my DJI Pocket 2, by the way, just for your reference. So let me just show you. I'll just turn the ISO a little higher. All right. So here, as you can see, this is probably a little closer to what I'm getting right now on screen. All right. So I've just dialed the ISO up from 200 to 400. So hey, overall, I'm pretty impressed with what my laptop can actually achieve when it comes to this game. So I'm quite happy with the performance. But please note that initially I did face challenges, especially in the opening credits, the first cutscene where you've got the two characters talking. I think there were frame drops, there were fluctuating frames in some of the initial cutscenes, but please note that I did have some applications running in the background. When I turned all of them off, it's a smooth experience, and for most of it, even with model quality turned up high, I am getting those really good frame rates on my Asus ROG Strix G15 in the high 50s or in the 60s. Even in this cutscene, as you can see, it's staying well above 50 so far. As far as load times go, you had seen the kind of load times that I had. So it's not that bad. It's not bad. But again, if you have applications running in the background, even the load times tend to go up really high. All right, so I will say that. Now, this is pretty good. Let's try to skip this. So cutscene, hey, good enough, right? Now, when it switched over from one cutscene to the other, it did see that significant drop. You could say it went down to like 29 FPS, but hey, that's just because it's switching between, these cutscenes. That's pretty natural, you can say, with these games. Obviously, I have a counter here. On my PlayStation, I don't have a counter. So even if it happened on my PlayStation 5, I probably would not be able to notice it, right? But I will tell you this, from my personal experience, the PlayStation 5 experience is very close to this PC game, okay? So if I really have to choose between the two, I would not playing it on either. Now, it's not like there is a massive difference in the texture quality on the PC version. There isn't, because the PlayStation 5 gives you a very close to PC experience. And if I have to choose one, I probably will go around with just the, you could say the PlayStation 5. I can play with the controller as well. Not that I can't connect that to the PC, of course I can, but I think just for the ease of switching on your console and playing it, gaming is definitely easier, I would say, on consoles than on PC. And that's my personal experience, by the way. PC, of course, is the comparatively superior experience because of the texture quality and because of the higher frame rates that you can achieve, and of course the more graphical options. But just for the ease of playing games, I think consoles fare really, really well. Okay, so I'm just going to try to get out of here. Hold your breath, boy, hold your breath. Ooh, so even in these tough situations here, as you can see, the frame rates did not flinch here. The frame rates were really good. 55, not bad, boy. Keep going, RT for balance, yeah. Shake it off, and move. Yeah, that's right. You can't get me. Oops, hold breath. Gone. Oops. Oh my god. All right. So what do you guys think about Death Stranding on PC? Oh, one thing that I haven't mentioned, and that's an important piece of information, is that on the PlayStation 5, you obviously have the Director's Cut as well, but on the PC, on Game Pass, by the way, you only have the standard edition. It's not the Director's Cut. And this game is available on Game Pass. Yippee-yay! Talk about getting value for money from your Game Pass, right? So on your PC Game Pass, this game is available included in your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, so you don't have to pay anything extra for it. And that's a really, really good thing for PC game lovers. So yes, although it's the standard edition, but it's inclusive in your Game Pass, yeah? I mean, so you don't have to pay anything extra. Wow, so I have to. Oh no, come on. Come on. Hey, but let me know your thoughts as to what you feel about Death Stranding on your PC. If you've had the chance to play this on your PC, what are your thoughts? What are your comments? Please let me know in the comment section. Now, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that like button. If you have liked the content, then yes, it's free of cost, guys. You could just hit that like and subscribe button. I thank you in advance for that. And apart from that, also hit that bell icon in case you want to get notified with all my latest videos. Now, with that said, it's a wrap for this one, and I'll see you lovely folks in my next video. Until that time, I'll say take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.